Good evening. It is now 6:30, and I will call the Monday, October 10th, 2016 Burnsville Planning Commission to order. Commissioners, thanks for your time this evening, and staff, thank you for your time. Welcome, Ray.
Thank you very much.
Our first item this evening is the adoption of our agenda. And Commissioners, do you have any changes to the posted agenda?
None, sure.
None from Commissioners, staff, any changes? No. Hearing none, I would stand for a motion.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Walter. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Our second item this evening is the approval of the minutes of September 26th, 2016 Planning Commission. Commissioners, you have the minutes in your background. Do you have any changes or comments on the minutes? None from Commissioners, staff?
No changes.
No changes from staff. Commissioners, I would stand for a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Moved by Commissioner Singh, second by Commissioner Benke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. That brings us to item number 3 this evening. Item number 3 is a public hearing. It's an application for the Independent School District 196 for a PUD amendment for a building addition at Echo Park Elementary School located at 14100 County Road 11. Ms. Dean is our presenter this evening. Regina, you have the floor.
Great. Thank you, Chair, members of the commission. Thank you for allowing me enough time to make the walk over here. This is an application for a planning and development amendment. That is because the school was initially approved as a planning and development back in the late 70s, and there's been subsequent planning and development amendments throughout the years, most recently in 2007 with a classroom addition and also a plat of the property. The actual property is located just west of County Road 11. It's surrounded by R3A and R3B PUD, multifamily in nature, or medium density. And then to the east is R1 across County Road 11. The subject site is adjacent to Evergreen Drive, which is a collector road, and Park Avenue to the west, which is a city street. That's important to note because as part of the plan unit development amendment, staff had noticed that there were some traffic concerns that were brought up by the neighborhood. And as part of this proposal, we brought up to the applicant, if there's opportunity to make some changes or some improvements, now would be a great time to do it. So a lot of the traffic currently comes off of Park Avenue, or the parent pickup and drop off is along Park Avenue entrance, or that west parking lot. The east parking lot is primarily for bus pickup now, bus pickup and drop off. Because Evergreen is a collector road, the applicant is proposing to shift a lot of the parent drop-off and pickup collection off to the Evergreen entrance. So the bus drop-off and pickup and the parent drop-off and pickup are flip-flopping. And you'll see that in the next slide. Staff is hoping that this helps alleviate some of those traffic concerns that we've heard. The other proposal is, of course, the office addition and the classroom addition. Because it's over 10% of the footprint of the building as an addition, that triggers a planning and development amendment. The office addition, it's approximately 2,500 square feet, and the classroom addition of 4 classrooms is approximately 7,500 square feet. They are also proposing to add additional parking stalls to the east portion of that east parking lot. That makes up for some of the parking that's lost where the buses are now proposed to be parked on that west parking lot. As part of that proposal, they're also adding landscaping to the eastern portion of that parking lot expansion for additional trees. This gives you a perspective of the proposed exterior elevations. Let's see here. There are metal panels as well as glass, primarily, and brick that are proposed for the expansion portion. The entry proposed for the office gives a distinct entry feature, which helps break up some of the wall plane and helps give better direction to parents or visitors to the school. And just more perspective of the proposal. Staff does recommend approval of the proposed classroom addition and office addition or planning and development amendment. They are proposing a wall sign as part of their proposal. Again, with any new wall sign, we always require that a permit is acquired for that. We do have the architect, Nick Marcucci, as well as members of the Independent School District 196 here in case there's any questions. They're more than happy to speak, I believe. Yes. With that, again, staff does recommend approval.
Thank you, Ms. Dean.
Thank you.
It's been a really long time since I think we've had something with just one condition. Maybe Commissioner Singh remembers something that I'm not lately,
No,
but.
we have had without any.
Yeah.
We've had without any.
So, Ms. Dean, thank you very much for your time. Commissioners, what questions do you have for staff? Commissioner Singh.
Ms. Dean, the school is located around residential buildings. And one of the conditions that I would expect is that the materials for the exterior of the expansion to meet the requirements. And I would assume that that is so.
They do meet their
Thank you.
exterior requirements.
Thank you, Commissioner Singh. Other questions? Commissioner Benke.
Ms. Dean, are they introducing any new material, or is it all basically just the same as what's on the building right now?
Maybe the architect could
fine.
confirm.
That's fine.
And unfortunately, we forgot to bring the board
Yeah.
tonight, which shows
Sorry
the new
about that,
material.
but,
Sorry.
Sir, if you could give us your name and address for the record, I'd appreciate it.
Nick Marcucci with Wold Architects, 332 Minnesota Street, St. Paul. There's 3 different bricks on the building now, and we're attempting to get as close a match as we can. None of the present 3 bricks are still made, but we're going to make an attempt to be as close as possible.
Yeah, I'm in the industry, I realize
Yep.
brick changes from week to week.
Yep.
I guess my only other question was, we are very close to Alamagnet, and I'm assuming that all of the hardcover meet standards for runoff. I saw that they're reducing some blacktop in addition to creating some.
Yeah, Commissioner Benke, there will be some underground storage under the easterly parking expansion area.
They're adding underground storage under that to take care of that additional stormwater?
Yeah, the applicant is, yep.
Okay.
And one last question for the applicant. This new office, is that the new entrance then? Is it?
Yes, it's part of the referendum was for security at all the buildings,
Right.
and this is right now you have to go into the building beyond the hallway to get into the office. So now the office, you'll have to come into the office to get into the rest of the building.
Very good.
Thank you, Commissioner Benke. Other questions? No question, okay. This is a public hearing. At this point, I will open the public hearing and ask anyone in the audience that would like to step up and give us your thoughts. I'd appreciate it. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing. Commissioners, your pleasure.
Mr. Chair?
Commissioner Singh, I'm sorry, he raised his hand.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I think this is a straightforward application. They have met all the conditions, and I think a couple of things that I was concerned about is, first one is the material for the building, the expansion, and the underground, the water, and I think both of these, they have met the expectations, and I intend to support this application.
Thank you, Commissioner Singh. Commissioner Benke.
Yeah, I was just to basically echo that. I thought that the application was very thorough, and obviously the applicant is doing a really good job of meeting our standards with only one condition.
And that condition's pretty much standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Commissioners, other comments? If none, I would stand for a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move that the Planning Commission recommend to the City Council approval of the concept and development stage PUD amendment application for Independent School District 196 for a PUD amendment for a building addition at Echo Park Elementary School located at 14100 County Road 11, subject to the one condition, and that is a sign permit is required for any new wall sign for the building.
Thank you, Commissioner Singh. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Benke. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed, say nay. And the motion carries. That'll go in front of the City Council on October 18th. Thank you for coming in. Have a safe drive home. Thanks, Ryan. Come back and play with us anytime. Our fourth item this evening is also a public hearing. It's an application of the City of Burnsville to consider an amendment to the City Code Title 10 zoning, Chapters 23, Special Requirements, and Chapter 26A, Gateway Industrial Medium District, to allow sports performance training centers as an interim use permit within the GIM zoning district. Ms. Dean, you are also presenting this evening. You did not have to make the trip back. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have the floor. You have our undivided attention.
Great, thank you. So sports performance training, it's basically specialized training for athletics. So if there's a pitching school or maybe a hitting baseball or softball hitting school, someone can reserve space in a building and use that space for that specific use. And so we allow sports performance training in certain zoning districts, in some of our business zoning districts and our industrial zoning districts. And back in 2015, we were approached by a potential or a business. They were currently located in Burnsville, and I think their lease was up, and they were looking for a new space. And they were looking within a GIM zoning district, or a Gateway Industrial Medium zoning district, and it's currently not allowed within that zoning district. So in early 2016, staff brought this forward to a city council work session. And at that work session, we were basically looking for feedback from the city council to determine if there would be support for either a plan unit development for the particular location, or if there was appetite to change the zoning to allow sports performance training as either conditional use or an interim use within that specific zoning district. So the council was open to the idea, but wanted more information from the business community within that zoning district to see if there would be any conflicts or concerns with that type of use, because it does tend to generate some parking concerns, and if there is not an kind of off-peak parking situation, then it can cause spillover onto neighboring properties. So they wanted to kind of hash out some of those possible concerns. So with that information, staff went back and evaluated what properties we have that are zoned GIM, where it's currently not permitted, and then what specific zoning districts where it is allowed. So sports performance training is allowed in our I-2, I-1, I-2 Gateway, and I-3 with conditional use permit approval, highlighted in the purple color. And again, not permitted within the GIM zoning district. So it's a very kind of limited area within the city, not a lot of parcels, but it's an area where we see transition happening and hope for it to happen in the future. So staff sent out about 48 notices to property owners and business owners within the GIM zoning district to get feedback. We requested that they either set up a meeting with staff, call, email, or attend a specific meeting date. And to date, no one has called, no one's emailed, and no one attended the meeting. So with that, staff brought back that information to City Council at a September work session, and staff was directed to change the ordinance to allow GIM as an interim use. So that's why we're here today, to bring that code language amendment to you. Within our I-1 and I-3 zoning districts, we do have specific language, or special requirements. And we're proposing that this is continued for our GIM zoning district as well. So in instances where there's a multi-tenant situation, or just any situation, we require that parking and loading is accommodated for all uses. And that if there's a special event, for example, if this baseball or softball training facility hosts a tryout type session where it brings a lot of customers that specific day, that special event parking is accommodated either on-site or off-site. That signs for the proposal all meet city code, and that any exterior or interior modifications would meet building code, and those are pretty standard requirements, but we would expect that continue in our proposed language. So with that, we are proposing new code language basically to allow sports performance as an interim use. This would give planning commission and future city councils the opportunity to set a limit on time. So if they felt the use, they only wanted the use to be there for 10 years or 15 or 20 years, and there would be a cap so that this area could, again, kind of evolve into the long-range vision that we have for the city. We're also proposing that we include those special requirements that were listed on the previous slide. This just gives an overview of the actual code language change red line version for your view. So with that, staff does recommend approval of the changes as proposed or drafted in ordinance format.
Thank you, Ms. Dean. Commissioners, questions for staff? Commissioner Benke.
Ms. Dean, could you go back to like 3 slides? Okay, I'm sorry, forward one more. Okay, here it says I-2, I-3. I think a couple slides back it said I-1 and I-3.
You know, for some reason in our code, it just addresses I-2 and I-3 for the special requirements.
Okay, but-
I-1's not,
Okay, but I think,
Removed. Yeah. There it says I-1.
no, no, I think it was I'm sorry, back to that other slide. It was the special conditions.
so the special conditions are only applicable to our I-2 and I-3 zones right now.
Right, and
This-
in the planning report, it says, staff recommends requirements and standards consistent with the I-1 and I-3 zoning district special requirements.
You know, I should probably get that clarified. We want it to match what's
Right.
existing in code today.
And that's all, I just happened to notice it was different.
Thank you. I will note that and make sure that,
But actually, all we're doing is just making sure that the standards are consistent through the ordinance.
that's correct.
Right, and then the interim use, is that specific to the GIM, or is it also in the I-2 and I-3? Or is it conditional use in I-2 and I-3?
Conditional use in the I-2 and I-3, a IUP in the GIM. So
Absolutely.
many acronyms, I'm sorry.
Exactly. Thank you, Chair.
Sometimes we speak in different languages.
Uh-huh.
Commissioners, other questions? Just to clarify, the interim use permit, the rest of it's a conditional use, and the applicant, if they were gonna go in the 3 districts we allow, the 3 parcels, they would require a conditional use permit. In this particular, with an interim use, what's the difference from the application?
So with a conditional use permit, or even a plan unit development, the approval runs with the property, and basically is there for forever unless there's a specific condition that says it needs to be removed. With an interim use, there is a kind of a expiration date, a firm expiration date, where the city could, basically the city doesn't have to take additional action. If the date hits, if it says October 10th, 2027, they need to be out by that date, and stop the use at that date. Whereas, again, conditional use permit can continue forever.
Okay. Because the applicant that brought this in front of us was applying to be in a relatively new building that more than likely would not be torn down
Very likely.
in some sort of redevelopment, correct?
I mean, the city can't predict the market, and what could happen for that particular site, but, it, very likely that building will stay for.
Quite a while.
Quite a while.
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Benke.
And to elaborate, the reason that we're doing the IUP and the GIM is because of the future gateway work that we're doing in the
Correct, and
river quadrant.
the code change would apply to all the parcels, highlighted, on the slide in pink. So it really gives opportunity for other property owners, other businesses to potentially attract this type of user, this type of tenant, where the other request was pretty site-specific. That was one of the requests, was for a PUD, a planning and development amendment. There's already a planning and development on that particular property. So it was very site-specific, where this opens, I guess, more opportunity for other people, other businesses, other property owners.
It really gives them the opportunity to fill their space if they need to.
Correct.
Right. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioners, other questions?
Oh, just a comment, Mr. Chair. I think this was, if this goes through, it will also attract these things who are out of Burnsville but want to come because we have made it available to them. They can come in these areas that we are recommending.
It would afford more opportunity, I would say.
Other questions, Commissioners? This is a public hearing, so at this time I will open the public hearing and ask anyone left in the audience to come up and give us their thoughts. Seeing no one in the audience, I will close the public hearing. Sometimes people just don't want to come and see us. Commissioners, other questions, or otherwise I would stand for a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Benke.
I would move that the Planning Commission recommend to the City Council approval of the proposed ordinance as drafted with staff's review of the zoning districts, as noted previously.
We have a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Workman. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. I guess I would tell the city that it'll be in front of the City Council on October 18th.
There you go.
That brings us to updates. Commissioners, do you have any updates this evening? Not everybody talk at once.
We've
None
been
from
the
me, Chair.
fastest one we've been.
Okay. Staff, any updates?
I have the Planning Commission agenda draft for the next meeting.
Thank you.
On the agenda will be Soccer Blast. They're asking for a planning and development amendment for their fabric dome. Their condition expired, so they're going to be back in front of you later this month. And then KMM, Kramer Mining, they're requesting a building for their quarry floor, a new building, as well as they're requesting to move some of their equipment associated with the operations further, moving it further to the west, I believe. So that'll be before you. Also upcoming is the comp plan workshop update, or the comp plan committee meeting, that's November 7th at the Maintenance Center. And then also the volunteer and commission appreciation is coming up as well on October 18th. So that's all I have.
I should have had a couple of those on my list.
There you go.
Thank you, staff. Commissioners, unless there's other comments, I would stand for a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Moved by Commissioner Benke, second by Commissioner Singh. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay, and the motion carries. Thank you. I appreciate everyone tuning in this evening, and everyone have a safe drive home.